How's it going, everybody? The Yankees just did not take the Red Sox seriously enough this weekend. They treated this weekend like it was going to be a walk in the park, and unfortunately, it was. And they got mugged.
Someone help!
Shut up, you old pig!
Hey, Derek, great program. Just want to know what you would do with the catchers going forward regarding all the stolen bases tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, Jose Trevino's slow pop time was exposed. He got utterly embarrassed by the Red Sox last night. Embarrassed. Most teams can't and don't run like the Red Sox, but what you've done is you've made it clear to any team that can run that in a big situation with Jose Trevino behind the plate, if you've got a good runner on base, you can swipe a bag or maybe even two bags. That is 100% going to come back to bite the Yankees in a big situation. I'm not usually the type of person who takes one game as the evidence of anything significant, but holy moly, this was a type of thing that was so bad it gets around the league in a hurry. And it's going to be in the Orioles scouting report for sure this week when they come to New York. I got to say, I'm concerned, and I'm not sure there's a great answer for it. You have two catchers right now who are great at framing, but one of them can't hit a curveball, and the other one couldn't throw out Cecil Fielder. It's embarrassing. Got to figure that out, and it's going to be a problem. You have not seen the last of this, I promise.
Whenever it came down to when the playoffs, we can't score, our offense stinks, and why we traded for Soto, it's always because the bottom of the lineup never shows up and when his runners are scoring position. Let's just break it down, man. I'm tired of, we added Soto to hopefully make sure the lineup is better. When it really comes down to, is the 5 through 9 going to show up? I trust Doogie. I don't trust Stan. I don't trust anybody else in the lineup besides 1 through 4. I don't trust anybody else in the lineup.
I appreciate the call. Yeah, I do feel like the Yankees are a bat or two short. DJ LeMahieu has had some singles here and there, but he's not driving the baseball. Anthony Rizzo is hurt now, and even if he's not on the injured list, he banged up his wrist pretty good, and that's definitely going to affect his swing. He had to leave the game. I can't imagine that he's going to play in this Orioles series. Yankees definitely need to look into adding a bat. Now, they have some guys in the minor leagues they could possibly go with. Ben Rice, TJ Rumfeld. Unfortunately, Jason Dominguez is going to be out for a while. Oswald Peraza is not hitting. Augustin Ramirez is at Double-A, but he's a catcher. I don't know if he can throw or not. That might be helpful. But you're spot on. The bottom of the order isn't terrifying anybody. The Yankees definitely need a bat or two to make that lineup a little bit longer, a little bit more deadly. And when these guys get on base at the top of the lineup, they need somebody who's capable of driving them in. You can't be leaving the bases loaded as much as the Yankees did on this road trip. I'm sorry. They had a ton of opportunities and just could not cash in.
Hey, this is Myers from Raleigh. That was a frustrating game. I was watching it with my family for Father's Day, and I had it in the inning where we had the bases loaded and Gleyber Torres had a 3-0 count, and you watched two meatballs go right down Broadway, and he struck out. And I gave up watching, and I found out that we left the bases loaded. That had me raging more than anything. How on earth is this team going to beat the Orioles?
First, let's get to the elephant in the room. You gave up on the game with one out and the bases loaded in a one-run game? I think you need to stay tuned in a little bit. I mean, there's going to be ups and downs, but you got to stick with us, man. Come on. And in terms of beating the Orioles, look, I'm not going to say the Yankees can't or can beat the Orioles. The Orioles are a great team, and they're swinging the bat very, very well. They got a lot of young talent. Gunnar Henderson is one of the best players I've ever seen. But the pitching is going to be the key. You know, if Nestor Cortez comes out and is funky tomorrow, he can throw everybody's timing off. And then you got Garrett Cole and Luis Gil, who, if they're on, can dominate. So this series could go either way. You could also have Nestor, who's not sharp, and the Orioles light him up. Garrett Cole comes back, and he's not as sharp as, you know, his typical midseason form, Garrett Cole, because it's his first start. And Luis Gil's, you know, been a little bit tired lately. Maybe he gets hit. So it could really be a sweep in either direction.
Hey, Derek. Man, tough loss. The Red Sox are actually a lot feistier and scrappier than I imagined. Fun little athletic team. Had to say, though, that first inning, that Judge home run was massive. That was cool to see. It was just really different, something with that much hang time. I actually heard before they went on break, David Cohn was saying that he's never seen one that's been in the air for 7 seconds. And that guy's seen a lot of baseball, a lot of greats throughout his lifetime. Just to even say that, he's never seen one that's hung up for that long was pretty cool. The other thing I just wanted to say really quick is that, and this is actually more of a question for you, why would you think the Yankees are pitching to Devers? To me, the Red Sox actually seem like a team that's very similar to the Cleveland Guardians, where it's just J-Ram is the main power source for that offense. And I see the same thing kind of with the Red Sox. Like, if you avoid that big single that Devers hit there in that inning when Colton Wong ends up coming up, I would have walked Devers and make Wong do it instead of having Wong come up with some momentum behind him.
I think it's just the competitive nature of professional athletes. Guys don't want to walk people. They want to compete. Why does anybody ever pitch to Aaron Judge? Why did anybody ever pitch to Barry Bonds? You want to get him out. You're one of the best pitchers in the world just by making it to the major leagues, and you feel like you can get out anybody on any given day. There were times, I pitched in a semi-pro league, we faced guys who were coming out of the major leagues. Like Elliot Johnson was just out of the World Series, right? And he was the only good player on this team that we were facing, and I was pitching, and I knew that if I just walked him, nobody else was going to beat me, but I wanted to pitch to him, and I got him out. And that was just the competitive side of me. Devers is a good hitter, but he's going to make an out 7 out of 10 times, even if he's really good. So you feel like you can get him out if you make your pitches. And that's pretty much the thought behind every pitcher who faces every good hitter. It's, hey, if I make my pitches, the odds are on my side.
Rizzo is looking older and older. As the season goes on, he'll have some spurts, catch a home run here and there, but he just hasn't been good. Carlos, another guy who can't withstand the good pitching. I mean, the good right-handed pitching, it's just not good for him. He can't hit that. And we're going to see that get maximized and come to the fore even more when the playoffs happen.
You're absolutely right about Rizzo. He always seems to get off to a good start and then slow down. And this year, the slowdown began way earlier. You might remember back when he first got traded to the Yankees, he hit 2 home runs right away. And then he kind of tailed off as the season wound down. But the last couple of years, it seems like he just drops off immensely at some point in the season, whether it's an injury or whether it's just fatigue or whatever. Maybe him being out for a little bit could ultimately be a blessing in disguise. You never want anybody to get hurt, and I certainly don't want Rizzo to get hurt, but him being on the IL keeps him on the bench if he wants to be there, keeps him around the team, and giving what is really his most valuable asset at this point in his career, his leadership. And maybe you get a young bat in there. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know what the Yankees' plans are. I really hope they don't go DJ at first and Oswaldo at third, because I don't think that's still championship caliber. DJ hasn't shown me enough to say that he should continue playing. Now, if you want to use him as a defensive replacement at third base and at first base, sure. I think he's great in that role. But the Yankees really need a bopper at one of the corner positions, if not both. And right now, they don't have one.
As we haven't had a good catcher since the days of Jorge Posada. That's the last good catcher we've had. And I'm not saying he's Johnny Bench, but we had Romine, Robert, now we have Trevino, Wells stinks, and we need to get a catcher, a good hitting and catch, and a good defensive catcher. We thought Gary Sanchez was going to be it, but that obviously didn't work. As far as Torres, it's ironic that so many people do get hurt, so many players, and yet here's Torres, he never gets hurt, yet he's always in the lineup messing things up. So we really got to get rid of him.
It's an interesting point about Gleyber Torres. I never thought about that. Maybe he's not exerting himself enough to where his body would get damaged, but we'll talk about that another time. In terms of catchers, there's just not a lot of catchers out there who are great on both sides of the ball. And if you have one, why would you trade that person? I feel like the Yankees just got to figure out a way to make it work with what they have. I like this kid, Agustin Ramirez, who's in Double-A. but I have no idea what he's like defensively. I've never watched a full game with him as the catcher, which is really what you need to do. You really need to watch several games of someone catching to see how they frame, how they throw, how they call the game. And he is mashing in Double-A, so maybe he's the future of our catching position, but I just don't think that there's anybody out there that the Yankees could go get. I think they got to make it work with Trevino and Wells. And right now, Wells can't hit a curveball, and Trevino can't throw anybody out. So this is going to be an issue. All right, everybody, I'll see you after the game on Tuesday night. Remember to like and subscribe if you're new, if this is your first time checking this out. We do voicemails pretty much every weekday after a Yankee game. We won't have one on Tuesday, but we will have a post game on Tuesday, and then the calls come in after the game, and we'll answer them the next morning. So I'll see you after the game on Tuesday night. Go Yanks.